Greetings, everybody. I'm Father Mike. We're still in the Easter season, and this is Elements of Faith. And I was kind of thinking about the last chapter of RCIA. RCIA stands for the Rite of Christian Initiation for Adults, as you know, and it really has origins in the early church and kind of how it was in the olden days that folks were ushered into the church as they converted. And this is something that's really, I think, applicable to all of us, because the last stage of RCIA, the last stage of this conversion is Mystagogy. Mystagogy was when, in the earliest days of the church, when people would convert, at the end of in the weeks or so after the experience of actually entering into the church at Easter Vigil, the folks would gather together in prayer with the larger church, and they would reflect. They would reflect on what that experience was like. What was it like when the water touched your head at baptism? Or what was it like when you received the Holy Spirit at confirmation, and the oils, all the different things. And it was a way of kind of communally digesting what had happened. And I was kind of thinking about mystagogies in a more universal kind of sense. A mystagogy is simply reflecting on an experience or a person or a thing even, and saying, what can I learn about God through that experience, person, or thing? In other words, what is God using that person, experience, or thing to teach me or to bring me closer to His Sacred Heart, to His divine life? And I was just kind of thinking a moment or two ago about my dog, because that's I was thinking about what would it be like if I did a mystagogy on my dog, on Glory in particular. Well, Glory, it would be simply to reflect on her and say, what is the Lord doing through her in my life? Or how can I come closer to God, or my understanding of God, my love of God through her? Well, Glory is absolutely gorgeous, which says something about the beauty of God. William Blake beautifully said, the universe is depicted in a grain of sand. So everything that God made, every person, every thing, every place, every experience we have is the author is God. And so the very way in which Glory is gorgeous and beautiful teaches me something about the beauty of God. And her energy during the holy hour that we just had here a moment ago, she was running laps left and right. There's something about the energy of God that is depicted in her. How about her loyalty? The loyalty of a dog who stands with you, all the time, who's always kind of there, and it doesn't matter what kind of mood you're in, she's in a good one. And even when you take the food away from her or whatever that she was kind of thinking was going to be hers, she still wags her tail, she still loves you, all those things. There's something about every person, every being, every place, every experience in our lives that we can understand God more fully through that, and we can love God more fully through it all. And one good way to pray in our daily prayers is simply to do this, is to say, Lord, in the last 24 hours, since the last time that I prayed intentionally, just kind of like you and me, Lord, what's the biggest thing that's happened, whether it was good or whether it was bad, and say, Jesus, what are you teaching me through that? Or what interaction has happened in our life that maybe is noteworthy in some way, and say, Lord, what are you teaching me through that? Maybe it's a thing you see on Facebook, a song you hear, a movie, who knows? Maybe it's something your dog does. Maybe it's a book. But to reflect on that is to do a mystagogy, just like the earliest days in the church. To say, Lord, how can there's the mystagogy, remember that word it's like mystery is kind of all in that word. The Lord is a mystery. Life is oftentimes a mystery, but that doesn't mean we can't understand any part of it. We can understand God. He is a mystery, but we can enter more fully into the mystery, understand a little bit more, love a little bit more. And the more we do these mystagogies, just like pick a thing, like I'm looking at a candle right now. I can learn something about God by looking at a candle. The candle smells beautiful, looks beautiful, provides light. It teaches us a lot about God just in looking at it. It gives of itself. And those mystagogies, right, in the early church, it was an opportunity for the people to communally kind of reflect and say, look what I was before, look what I have become now by the grace of God, a Christian, and look what I can become because of the combination of what was and what is. Look what I can become is a saint, like St. Augustine. It's not too different from an artist. A wise woman once told me that an artist, she's an artist, and she says, it's kind of like that. Like you look at what was, which may have been a hot mess, and maybe it was nothing, it was chaos. And then the artist kind of fashions it all together, just like God fashions us all together. And then all of a sudden there's a masterpiece. But an artist always kind of sees possibilities, and there's always more possibilities that remain. And so a mystagogy is kind of a reflection of all that. Look what was, look what has become, and look what can be. So maybe my encouragement today in this Elements of Faith, as we're in this Easter season, the time of mystagogy in particular, is to do some mystagogies in your own life. Maybe do one a day for a while, and look at your coffee maker, look at a cup of coffee, look at a book, look at anything, and just say, Lord, what can I learn more about you? How can I grow closer to you through this person, place, thing, being, experience, what have you? God bless you all.